Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Salam multikultur. Perkenalkan, nama saya Mario Christian Nursayanto. Video ini dibuat untuk memenuhi pernyataan diri dosen dalam unjuk kerja Tridharma Perguruan Tinggi. Dari berbagai mata kuliah yang saya ajarkan di Prodi Bahasa Inggris Bisnis dan Hubungan Masyarakat, di mana saya mengabdi selama 20 tahun, saya memilih untuk menyajikan mata kuliah Translation for Business Communication. Sesuai dengan rencana pembelajaran semester atau RPS, mata kuliah ini ditawarkan di semester keempat dengan beban 2 SKS. Saya sebagai koordinator mata kuliah ini, saya bekerja sama dengan tim untuk mengasuh mata kuliah ini. Translation for Business Communication merupakan salah satu mata kuliah keahlian berkarya Prodi Bahasa Inggris Bisnis. Mata kuliah ini memperkaya dan memperkuat pengetahuan, keterampilan, sikap mahasiswa sehingga mahasiswa diharapkan mampu menerjemahkan dengan baik dan benar sesuai dengan kaidahnya. Mata kuliah ini menitik beratkan pada beberapa aspek bisnis penting seperti keterampilan berkomunikasi tertulis maupun lisan yang berhubungan dengan dokumen penting dalam kegiatan ekspor-impor, customer service, dan public relation. Selain itu juga ada penerjemahan topik-topik umum seperti kontrak, subtitle, dan juga prosedur-prosedur. Setelah mengikuti perkuliahan ini, mahasiswa akan mampu menguasai konsep, metode, prosedur, teknik, dan praktik berkomunikasi dengan bahasa Inggris berbasis pada keterampilan dasar berbahasa Inggris. Ya. Capaian pembelajaran dari mata kuliah ini, setelah mahasiswa menyelesaikan mata kuliah ini, diharapkan mahasiswa akan mampu menguasai konsep, metode, prosedur, teknik, dan praktek berkomunikasi dengan bahasa Inggris yang berbasis pada keterampilan, seperti menerjemahkan terkait topik-topik sehari-hari maupun topik-topik bisnis. Capaian pembelajaran mata kuliah ini dapat dipecah menjadi beberapa kompetensi dasar dengan kemampuan akhir yang diharapkan yaitu mampu menerjemahkan secara tertulis dari bahasa Inggris ke bahasa Indonesia dan sebaliknya dengan beberapa topik seperti misalnya pengumuman-pengumuman dan tips seputar media, seputar transportasi. Kemudian mampu menerjemahkan tentang konferensi pers, pengumuman perusahaan, prosedur dalam hubungan masyarakat, customer service, serta ekspor-impor. Kemudian mampu menerjemahkan dokumen hukum dan akademik. Selain itu juga mampu menerjemahkan teks artistik, teks film, dan komik. Untuk soft skill, maka setelah mengikuti mata kuliah ini, mahasiswa diharapkan memiliki sikap disiplin yang tinggi, antara lain ditunjukkan dengan selalu mengikuti kegiatan perkuliahan, tidak pernah tidak masuk, lalu kemudian mempunyai integritas yang tinggi, tidak berbohong, tidak curang dalam mengerjakan tugasnya, dan mampu beradaptasi bekerja sama dengan teman-temannya untuk mengerjakan tugas-tugas yang diberikan dalam mata kuliah ini. Nah, metode penyampaian dari mata kuliah ini sebagian besar berupa diskusi. Meskipun ada tentunya ceramah di mana kami tim dosen menyampaikan beberapa teori yang diperlukan. Kemudian diikuti oleh tugas-tugas baik itu individu maupun tugas kelompok. Bahan ajar dari mata kuliah ini diambil dari buku yang berjudul Dasar-dasar Penerjemahan Umum yang diterbitkan atau ditulis oleh Andika Wijaya dan Haru Deliana Dewi. Juga ada juga dari buku yang berjudul Translation, A Multidisciplinary Approach karya Julian House. Untuk penilaian pada mata kuliah ini dibagi menjadi dua, yaitu sebelum UTS dengan bobot 40%, maka itu dibagi lagi menjadi 60% nilai tugas dan 40% nilai UTS. Sedangkan untuk separuh semester yang kedua dengan bobot 60%, itu juga dibagi menjadi dua, yaitu 60% nilai tugas dan 40% nilai UAS. Okay, good morning everyone. Okay. Now today we are going to talk about translating legal documents. What kind of legal documents do you have in mind? So when I say legal documents, what do you have in mind? What is in your mind? Certificates. And then? What else? Contract. Yeah, so rent contracts. And also licenses. Yeah. Documents for export-import. And then your personal identification. Yeah, that is also considered legal documents. Yeah. Now, why legal documents? Why is it necessary to learn about how to translate legal documents? First, because legal documents involved in our everyday life. Now, for example, rental contracts. So if you are renting a car, renting a house, all of those requires legal documents. Employment agreement also require legal documents. So one day you work for a foreign company, then you need to understand how to make contracts, how to make employment agreement in English. And then in business, like international agreements, probably companies are doing mergers or something. And also justice and rights, like court documents, laws, and also human rights. And the last one, why is it necessary to learn legal documents? Because it has serious consequences. If you translate it wrong or mistranslate a document, a legal document, and it is resulting a serious problem, it is not impossible that you go to prison. Ya, jadi be very careful in translating legal documents. Now, here are the characteristics of legal document. The first one is absolute accuracy and fidelity, meaning you cannot interpret, so you have to write as it is. Yeah, no interpretation. And then precision and unambiguity. So it must be exact, precise meaning. And then formal, objective style, standardized, impersonal, unemotional. So you will never find in a contract saying that the house is beautiful. Yeah, it doesn't exist. So it is only possible that the house is located on Jalan blah blah blah. The size of the house is blah blah blah. The house is equipped with many rooms, and it has a swimming pool and blah blah blah. Yeah, it is all mentioned as it is. There is no such thing as good, bad, nice, beautiful. Yeah. So everything is exact. No opinions. And then there is a special terminology, which is legal jargon. The legal jargon is like hereinafter, and then considering, and then stipulated in blah blah blah. Yeah. And then complex syntactic structure. So normally a legal documents is, the sentences for legal documents are very long, especially if it is Indonesian sentences. Yeah, in Indonesian sentences, it is possible to have 5 or 6 sentences in one sentence if it is a legal document. But in English, normally it is split into several sentences. And then the last one is, of course, it's high stakes because the consequences are very significant. If you write missing 10, the salary you are offered is actually 4.9 million, and then in the contract you add 10, so it means the salary is 49 million. Wow. Good for the staff, not good for the boss. Yeah. Now, here are some examples of legal terminology. Yeah. Agreement, perjanjian. Party is not party, yeah, but it's pihak. Yeah. First party, second party, yeah. And then pihak terkait is usually translated into related party. And then if it is about rental, lessor, and then lessee. Lessor is the one who have the house or have the car, while lessee is the one who rent the house. And then premises. Premises is the object. If you are renting a house, then it is the house. It is called the premises. And then rent is, it can be the price, the cost of the rent. And then term, here is the jangka waktu, jadi the time. And then whereas, whereas is menimbang. Normally we say menimbang is consider, but in legal terms it can be whereas. And then hereinafter. Hereinafter itself is actually selanjutnya. Hereinafter only exists in legal terms. So you cannot write a letter to your friend, an email to your friend saying, hey, my friend, tomorrow, blah 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 blah, and hereinafter. No, we cannot say hereinafter in a casual way. It is only used in legal terms. Jadi hereinafter is selanjutnya. Selanjutnya disebut sebagai, in English is hereinafter referred to as. Normally that is one phrase. Hereinafter referred to as. And then breach of contract, pelanggaran kontrak. So if there is a problem, it is called a breach of contract. Now the strategies. How do you translate legal documents then? First, you need to understand the legal intent. So, what is the purpose? What is every clause is doing? Like for example, the first article. What is it about? What is it doing? Is it about the names? Is it about the address? Is it about the object of rent? Is it about the price? Jadi that is the legal intent. And then the pre-translation research. You need to do pre-translation research. This is what I do every day when I have to translate different documents. You need to find similar contract in target language. So for example, if you have to translate surat keputusan rektor, what do you know about surat keputusan rektor? What is surat keputusan rektor? You have any idea what is surat keputusan rektor? Because I have translated this once, not once, actually several times. Surat keputusan rektor.
Kind of similar with cars. Kind of similar with cars.
No. So surat keputusan itself is decree. rector's decree. Surat keputusan rektor itu rector's decree or just decree. Normally it's just decree. Nah, when you have to translate surat keputusan rektor from bahasa Indonesia to English, then you need to find an example of a decree done in English. You can find it in Google. Just search Google. Decree of any university that you think is big enough that can be an example. Like for example, decree of Universitas Indonesia, UI, ya kan? The most famous one, atau UGM probably. You find decree of rector in UGM. Nah, you already have the example. And then what you need to follow is the legal terminology. The one on the left. In view of has decided to stipulate, you need to copy those parts. While the content, of course you need to translate the content. Yeah. Now, and then when you translate the content, make sure that you maintain formal tone. Never translate it casually or based on your own understanding. Yeah. And then accuracy is way more important than style. Jadi it doesn't matter if it is poor, the location is not good, or the format is poor. It doesn't matter. If you are following the original, then it doesn't matter. Okay? And then consistency. If you have one word from page 1 appears again in page 5, then the word that you use must remain the same. For the same meaning, you need to use the same word. That is the strategy for translating a contract. Because if you have the same meaning but different words, it's going to cause confusion. And then when you are translating a contract, then the rights and obligations of the first and second party must be clear. Any questions so far? No? Okay, if not, then let's practice. I have an example of a contract. Okay, you may discuss this. You may discuss with your friends. Yeah? It's okay. Okay. Is there any questions for today's lesson?
No.
No? Okay. If everything is clear, then I guess that is all for today. I will see you again next week. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,